So this is
Okay,
Central Florida Computer Society's main meeting for May, or June, excuse me. We are in the month of June, aren't we? Yes. And typically what we do, since we've been going pretty strongly for almost 2 hours, is take 5 minute break, a little Q&A in here for anybody that wants to get up, get a cup of coffee, grab a beer, bathroom break, etc. So we'll come back in at 52 minutes after the hour, which will be about 6 minutes from now. If anybody
okay, in the
has any
meeting
questions or comments that they would like to make?
about anything
Huey, you may as
dealing with.
well promote your AI meeting and Tech for Senior meetings that are coming up.
Yep, Tech for Senior will be tomorrow, as we do every Monday. We will meet at you sign in at 11:30 Eastern time in the morning, and then at noon it starts. So we have a social hour, a half hour, and then it runs for 1 hour. We're ending with a music outro and then Q&A, and then about 20 after it ends about 20 after 1 Eastern time. And at 1:30 we have the premiere, which are repeats of three videos that we did just a year ago on various topics. They're always uh, good reminders of information that we probably forgot about. And that's on Mondays. Then on Thursdays, we have our Tech for Senior Live, which we uh, post articles, tech news to our Facebook page, and then go through each of the articles one by one and talk about the various topics. And the topics are all tech related. Now, I do want to mention that the Tech for Senior Live, only the Thursday show will be on vacation for the month of July. We're going to take our Thursdays off, but our Monday show will continue through the month of July. And then on the fourth Friday of every month, I have my Let's Talk AI, where we talk about AI, some of the new things. I list a bunch of videos that you probably want to watch that I've looked at over the past month that I thought were very good and that had information that might help you on various topics. Some you may be interested in, some you may not. But if you go to huey.net and then click on AI News, you will see you can download a PDF of the various lists of videos over the last couple of months. But join us on that the fourth Friday of every month for our discussion. And the discussions are usually pretty good. It's not usually, they are always very good. And you're definitely invited if you would like to join us. Just drop me a note and I'll add you to the list.
I have a question, Huey.
Sure.
Last Sunday at the end of the Geeks on Tour program, someone asked about VPNs, and Jim Gould didn't seem to think they were necessary, but I noticed that Mike Unger signed in and said they were. And you may have discussed this topic before sometime, but I'm interested in knowing whether or not to put a VPN like on my phone and on my computer.
I don't use one. I don't find it necessary to, but it all depends upon you and your situation. I guess some people can fill in why you might want to have one. I don't feel it's necessary for me.
And
Anyone?
yeah, I'll offer a couple of my opinions. Number one, Google apparently thinks it's necessary if you have a Pixel phone. In their latest version of Android, um, it's installed as part of the operating system. It's not an app. You can't bring it up as an app as you can on most other phones. And the only setting is on or off. And if in fact you turn it off, you get a message that says the Google's VPN is disabled. However, it will restart automatically the next time your network changes. For example, if I turn it off while I'm home and I'm on Wi-Fi and I leave the house out of range of my Wi-Fi and the phone automatically connects to the cellular network, I find that the VPN has been enabled again. So Google apparently thinks that it's something that should be on all the time. Secondly, I don't travel a lot, but we've just recently gone on a 8-day trip to Nebraska to see our family. And I felt in airports, on the airplane using their Wi-Fi, in our hotel, in restaurants. I wanted the VPN on so that should I do something that is sensitive, my connection is going to be encrypted on the local connection to the internet. Now, what was mentioned on Geeks on Tour was, oh, a VPN only does that. That is from your device encrypted to the point where the VPN server is located, and then it goes out onto the internet as it normally would. Well, that's probably the greatest vulnerability. Suppose, for example, that there is somebody attempting to do malfeasance that decides to park his car with a scanner out in front of the hotel, and you're using the hotel's Wi-Fi. There are devices that do that. It's no longer the purview of the CIA or the NSA. There's lots of, there's hobbyists out there that do it just for kicks, but there's also people trying to harvest information. So if your VPN is not on and you are counting on the hotel's Wi-Fi to protect you with whatever protection they have in their router, between the router and in the hotel and then their server or their internet provider, that's all in the open information that's just being broadcast. So that's why, to me, having a VPN is kind of important, especially if you decide to travel.
And traveling internationally. I'm going to be traveling
especially internationally.
Yeah.
Now, my advice, because I've got friends that take cruises and go international all the time, and we haven't done it in a long time, but there are countries here in Florida, it's done anyway, but especially when you go to the Bahamas, I actually had phone calls made on our phones a number of years ago where they had cloned our SIM somehow and started using our cell phones. So they tell you, try not to use the cellular networks, even if your provider has a plan. And then if you're going to use Wi-Fi and it's on a ship or Wi-Fi in the hotel, turn on the VPN and make sure that you've got airplane mode on the cell phone.
Right.
Okay.
And there sometimes people connect up to the store they're in, like Starbucks or Walmart's Wi-Fi. You're not protected just the same way as you're not protected in a hotel. I have a VPN program that is more than just a VPN. It also tracks malware and malicious websites.
Which one do you use, Drew?
It's called NordVPN, Nord, and it's a combination of it scans your download files, it checks your email to see if it's found on the dark web, and it has anti-malware and ad blocking and all kinds of goodies above and beyond just the VPN.
So when I'm at home, it's right now, for example, I don't have a VPN running on my current connection. I have some software that comes with a particular router that I use, that it's called Armor software, and I pay a subscription to it. It actually loads itself into the firmware of the router, and it does lots of protection, the kind of protection that Drew's talking about. My email is Proton Mail, which when I'm communicating with anybody that's also using Proton Mail, it's encrypted from end to end. And it has features where I can actually send an encrypted message to somebody else and through separate means send them the decryption key, say by text, or just call them up on the phone and say, here's your key to read my email. So there's other devices too, if you have very sensitive information, such as maybe you're communicating with an attorney or you're communicating with a medical database or something like that, where you've got your sensitive records. Having said all of that, the other side of the coin is probably, let's see, how many people we got online right now? We have 40 people online. I would venture to say that easily, well, I'll be conservative, easily 75% of everybody that's here has one or more sensitive pieces of their personal information that's available on the dark web right now, today. And in my case, with all the searching that I've done and all the protections that I've done, I know that all my information is on the dark web. I've been notified that it is. Nothing I can do about it, other than freeze my credit report and very careful of what I sign up for services, change my passwords all the time, using a password manager, just because the information's out there. But the VPN still, to my feeling, again, if you travel, if you're away from home, turned on, is going to at least protect what you're transmitting and receiving to the server, wherever that server is. Many servers are in countries like Switzerland, Sweden, Iceland, where they have very good privacy laws. And it's very hard, although recently Switzerland, there's a move afoot in the Swiss parliament to open up the privacy requirements with companies. And we're hoping that that doesn't get approved. But at the moment, the Proton series, whether it's the VPN or Proton Mail, right now, all they have to do by law is reveal an email of somebody who set up an account and perhaps the country that the person signed up from. Everything else is fully encrypted on the servers and can't be decrypted. So extra protection, again, perhaps overkill, but extra protection. But going full circle, VPNs for me is when I travel. So otherwise, and the fact that I have no real control unless I think about it when I walk out of the house. It's on when I'm in my car and I'm driving until I come home and I realize it's on and I turn it off.
Thank you. That's very helpful, because I am going to be in Europe in several countries over there. So
you can pretend that you're in the United States and access servers that you wouldn't be able to in a foreign country.
Oh, see, here's a whole new program. How do you do that?
Well, what you do is, let's say you're traveling to, doesn't matter what the country is.
France.
You can say, I want to connect to Miami, Florida, or New York, or Boston, or Los Angeles, or whatever.
I have a friend who lives in the Netherlands, makes trips to Disney twice a year, most of the times. We see him go out to dinner, do various social events when they're here. And Netherlands has a very tight control over what is allowed to be seen on television sets, streaming on your computers, and so on. But they can't prevent you. I mean, they don't prevent you from being on the internet. It's just they don't want you connecting to the United States. So if you put a VPN on your computer or on your Roku, for that matter, or on your router, so that's what your Roku uses, it thinks that you're in New York, Miami, and he regularly watches TV programs from the United States, and visits websites that he wouldn't otherwise just be able to get on his computer if he wasn't using it.
Yeah. Why don't we take Bob's question and then move on?
Yep.
Yeah, you're talking about VPNs. You got two different ones. You got a software VPN and a hardware VPN.
Correct.
My thing is, I'm paying $85 a month. My router's sitting out in the living room. I'm back in the back bedroom. I'm paying $85 a month. There's a VPN on there through the my ISP, and they should be supplying that. We shouldn't have to worry about it. but that doesn't happen all the time. But a VPN is good, as like you say. If you go into a coffee shop, McDonald's, or something like that, and you see somebody, a library is one of the biggest things you got to watch out for. You go in the library and you see somebody sitting there, and you can't tell what he's doing, but if he's sitting there and he keeps looking over at you, it means he might be trying to connect to you somehow. With your VPN in the library, there is none. They can connect to your computer very easily. So you got to watch out for those when you're in a public place. Hotels also. Hotels are very notorious for that. So that's what you got to watch out for. That's why you should have. I have an iPhone and I've got a VPN on there. It's a software one. It's not a hardware one. So it depends on where you're at and what you're doing, but they're good to have if you're outside your own network.
Agreed. Okay, well, we went
One
over
thing-
our, go ahead. Hugh.
Yeah, one thing before you start, I do want to share my screen for just a moment
Okay,
and share. And I am going to close this and open this. I want to show you something. It's called Linktree. And I put the address for mine in the chat. And anything that I post, if it's on my Facebook, on my X, Instagram, my YouTube, Tech for Senior YouTube, Stug's YouTube channel, CFCS's YouTube channel, Tech for Senior website, the special Windows Special Interest Group, the latest WinSig newsletter, my AI news, and the Stug website. So if I click on any one of these, and let's take a look at the, let's see, the latest WinSig newsletter, there it is. If I come back to that, whoops, I come back and I click on the latest, let's see, let's the Stug. There's the Stug YouTube channel.
Is that link available if they go to huey.net? And then they get that link and they can see everything else?
I don't know the right. I think I've stuck it up there now. I think I have, but it's also in the chat box, and I add it to my signature. But it's Linktree, and if you just go to linktr.ee, you can create your own and then use that. So I have so many places I want to go. I don't want to list everything as my signature, or people ask, how do I get in touch? I just give them that link. They go to that, they get this menu, and they can click on anything. So if I want to go to the let's see, the Stug website, I click that, takes me right there. So I just wanted to demonstrate that. I did do it at one of the WinSig meetings, and did do a presentation on it, but just remind you, please use it. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Mike, and it's all yours.
All right, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Take me a couple of seconds to switch to my second workspace. That's a subject for a future presentation probably too, is workspaces. But anyway, let me share my screen.
Mike, does everybody know how to save the chat on their own computer so that they can have these links available later?
Yes, well, that's a good point. So right now, while you're looking at my blank screen, if you go to the chat button in your Zoom client, open it up, and you will see that there's a little link in the upper right-hand corner, drop-down box. And when you select that, it'll say Save Chat. And it'll put it in your Zoom folder under Documents. So even if you don't have any Zoom meetings saved or anything along those lines, even if you didn't have a Zoom folder beforehand, it'll be sitting in Zoom, then today's meeting date, and then the chat for it will be there.
Yeah, and that's the 3 dots at the top right of the chat box.
Okay, on mine, it was different, but that's okay. Now, why is this? I'm getting something really weird on my screen. So just a moment while I try to move this and get it where I need it somewhere. Okay, AI Companion did something. Okay, now I'm going to move over. There we go.
You know what's easier? Can I make one quick thing on the chat? If
Sure.
you put your mouse in the chat area and you press Control A, it'll highlight it. You want to say copy, open up Word, and paste it in Word, and you don't have to go looking for it.
Yep. Another place. And I usually, when I share this one to everybody on the CFCS Google group, I usually paste the chat in as well. So there's a number of different ways to do it. Okay, so this is the Central Florida Computer Society's website, cfcs.org. We call it a landing page, and it has our key links. We are a member of the Association of PC User Groups, and that's another source for you folks to go to and find other meetings, workshops, and Saturday soirees that are safaris, rather, that are held throughout the year. We've got some coming up. So if you're interested in more sessions like this and more presentations, take a look at the Association of PC User Groups and see what they are presently offering. We also use a Discord social media system. We're calling it a BBS. If you don't have a Discord account and want to take a look at it, you go to discord.com, set up an account, name, password, that kind of thing. Come back to this page and click on an invitation link. That invitation link changes every week for security purposes. If it doesn't work, come back in 24 hours or so and there'll be another one up. What does that look like? This is our Central Florida Computer Society BBS on Discord. This just happens to be the announcement channel. And we have tons and tons of stuff, content from APCUG, contact from Geeks on Tour, contacts from Tech for Senior. We have tech channels, all by subject. Here's something on Chromebooks. Here's something on electric vehicles. Here's something on health and fitness. Lots of stuff. I try to keep this up to date, and interested people can just, if you join, you'll have permission to go ahead and share the links that interest you in one of these channels. Okay, I'm going to go back to my main screen. Hopefully I'm there, and I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, our presenter today is Drew King, and Drew is a source of amazing tech content. We're really happy to have him a member of our group. Even though he's with Stug, he has really helped out the Central Florida Computer Society. And Drew has a presentation to talk about sharing your screen to various other devices. So Drew, take it away.
Okay. I am going to minimize Zoom. Hang on one second. Okay. And now I can share. There we go. Share. And I'm going to share screen 1 and screen 2. There we go. And say share. And everybody should be seeing Joplin, and then on the other screen, Space Test Driver Console.
Yes.
All right, great. The first, I'm going to basically be covering a bunch of different options for casting your Windows screen or adding a second screen to another device. By itself, Windows comes with a screen sharing program called Cast. They call it Cast. And it uses a protocol called Miracast. And some smart TVs support Miracast. And the Amazon Fire Stick supports Miracast. So if you need to share your Windows screen with your TV, and it's not a smart TV, you can get an Amazon Fire Stick for not that much money, and then you can cast your Windows screen to the TV. And then I'm going to show you shortly a little dongle that that you can plug into your computer that acts as a virtual display adapter. When that's the Windows casting, and that's basically all there is to talk about with that. If I bring up, if I type in menu and K, you'll see that a 75-inch Neo QLED TV came up. That belongs to one of my neighbors, and my Wi-Fi is strong enough to see his TV. So if I were to click here, it would cast my screen onto his TV. So I don't do that. If I weren't already using my TV as a second screen, I would go in into my Fire Stick and put it into screen mirroring mode, and then it would show up in this list on Windows. And another way of getting to cast, and I have to apologize here, my mouse is not working very well today, is if you click on down here in the system tray and go to the right, you'll see on mine it says wired display because of the software that I'm running, but on your computer it'll say wireless display. Another really good option for sharing your screen to your TV, and also with this dongle that I'll show you, have a second screen, not just mirroring your screen to the TV, but actually having the TV be its own screen. Google Chromecast via the Google Chrome browser, and it works well with Android TVs. If you don't have an Android TV, you can again use an Amazon Fire Stick and install a program called Air Receiver or Air Screen. And there are some smart TVs that will support Google Chromecast by default. I can't list them out for you, but some of them will have Google Chromecast and some won't. There's another program that is available for all platforms. It's available for Windows, it's available for Android, it's available for iOS, and it's available for Linux in a form of using a website. If on a Linux machine or I believe on a Mac OS, you can go to webcast.airdroid.com, and you don't have to worry about saving these links. I put into the chat a few minutes ago a link to this document that you can download to your computer. It's a PDF of this document. Now, AirDroid Cast, let me bring up my browser and go to AirDroid. This is the AirDroid website, and they specifically have a product called AirDroid Cast. And here is the AirDroid Cast for Web button that you would use if you were on a computer that didn't have the software. They support Android, iOS, Windows, Mac OS, a web, meaning a web browser, and Android TVs. So you would use a web browser if you were on a Linux machine. Now, the free version only allows you to mirror on your Wi-Fi network. If you pay them whatever their subscription fee is, you can do real-time casting over the internet. But basically, they're showing here using your cell phone as a second screen for your laptop. You can use an iPad. and use your Windows computer and your iPad, and with AirDroid Cast, send your screen over to here, and with the dongle that I keep talking about, let me show that to you. On Amazon, there are different kinds of these things that are called ghost adapters, or dummy plugs. If you search Google for virtual display adapter, you'll find these. And depending upon what kind of connector your computer has as a monitor, for external monitors, is the kind of little dongle that you would buy. And for example, this one is a pack of 3, or no, this is a 1 pack, I'm sorry, for $5.48. So they're not expensive. And if your computer has an HDMI port on it, then you would buy one of these. And that will enable you to use your other device that you're going to connect to, whether it be your iPad, your Android tablet, another computer, a TV. That device will be able to be a second monitor, as opposed to mirroring your laptop screen or desktop screen to that device. For example, my laptop has USB-C ports on it, doesn't have an HDMI port. So I bought this device here, which is a display adapter with a USB-C connector on it. So you just buy whichever model. They have DisplayPort, DVI, mini DisplayPort. They even have a VGA connector for those of you who have VGA connectors on your computer. So that's the adapter that I was talking about. And let me get back to here. So AirDroid Cast is one of the options. And if I have on Windows AirDroid Cast, and I'll run that real quick and wait for it to come up. There it is. And come on, get onto the screen. Let's AirDroid Cast host. There it is. And I don't want to try this for free. So if I wanted to cast my screen to another device, or no, if I wanted to have that other device be the host, I would switch to wireless mode. If I had an Apple devices, I would choose AirPlay. And then when you run the AirDroid Cast app on the other device, you'll punch in this code, or if it has a camera, scan the QR code. And then all of a sudden, this screen will be on your other screen. If I want to cast to my TV, then I click on the Cast To button, and I run AirDroid Cast on my TV, and punch in the number that shows up on the screen. If my TV is unable to run the AirDroid Cast program, you can again, just on your TV, go to that button, and it's basically webcast.airdroid.com. And I have that in my document, webcast.airdroid.com. It's right here. And you would basically, if you ran this on your TV, on your desktop computer, you would punch in this code, and all of a sudden your monitor will be on the TV or your second screen, depending upon what you choose.
Just a quick question, Drew. When you say you want to run that on your TV, but if you don't have the app installed on your smart TV, are you saying you would open up a web browser on your TV if you have it?
Yes.
Okay.
So, for example, you have an Android TV. you can go into the Google Play App Store and install AirDroid. If you have a Samsung TV, for example, their store, I don't think, has AirDroid in it. Fire Sticks have AirDroid in them. But some smart TVs do not. So you would go to webcast.airdroid.com in whatever the default browser is for your device. And that could be, it doesn't have to be a TV. It could be any device that you need to, that just has a web browser on it. And you'll punch in this code.
I know that you and I discussed this when we were talking about you're giving this presentation, and I was commenting at the time that I have a smart TV that runs the Google operating system, and that I was having problems finding a web browser that would give me a good display on my TV. And you came up with a list of a couple of browsers that were available in the Google store to go on my TV. So most people, if they don't have the ability to actually get the AirDroid app, should look in their store for apps for their smart TV, or it may already have it and look for a web browser. That way you can then type in this address.
Yeah, if your TV is not an Android TV, if it's a Samsung or an LG or some of the other ones, their store only run their operating system. Like for Samsung, it's a proprietary Samsung operating system. So the vendor would have to write their app to work on a Samsung. And not many people do. So on a Samsung, you would just use the Samsung browser and go to webcast.airdroid.com. So that covers the AirDroid Cast program. Another program that's available. Oh, did I skip over Google? I skipped over Google. I'm sorry. If you have if you have a device that supports Google Chromecast, which again is either an Android TV or a Fire Stick, with the program called Air Receiver or Air Screen, and they support Google Cast and also Apple AirPlay. So that's a way of getting Google Chromecast. And if I were to run my Google browser, let me switch to my Google browser. And if I click on the 3-dot menu and I scroll down to Cast, Save, and Share, and then I choose Cast, and then I'm going to say Source, cast my whole screen. And then you'll see my living room TV is available and my various Fire Sticks are available. If I click on my Fire Stick, it's going to show me the two screens that I have. And I can choose to project the first screen or the second screen. And this is an easy way. If you have Windows, Mac OS, I don't know about because I can't try it. But Linux, I've tested. If you load Google Chrome on your Linux box, you can do this very same thing. You can cast your Linux desktop over to your Android TV, your TV, and any TV that supports Chromecast. Getting back to the presentation, the next program. Now, this doesn't require any software to be installed on anything, unless you have an Android device. Actually, I'm sorry, I apologize. They have apps for the Amazon Fire Stick, Android, and Apple. But on your Windows computer, you would go to tvee.app is the main website, and screen mirroring.sender or /sender is their equivalent to this. So if I go to here, and I go to TV.app. This is their main screen. And they show here that there are apps available. And if I wanted to grab this screen, then again, I could scan the QR code or punch in this code over here. If I want to take control of another computer, then I would go to this app right here, TV/start. And I would, if I were running their app on my other device, I could enter the code. And it would then, I would then hit connect, and it'll show me that same 2-monitor choice, and I can choose which one I want to extend over to the TV set. Now, if I go back here, if say you have a TV that doesn't support any of these, again, you can open up the default web browser on your TV and go to screenmirroring.app/receiver, and it'll bring up this web page, and then you can, on your computer, punch in this code. And you can do it from, they say Windows, Mac, and Chrome, but I happen to know, because I've tested it, that Linux works also. So that's this product here. In the Google Play App Store, this is what the application looks like. It's called Screen Mirroring App. That's the icon that it shows. And I have a link to that app in the Google Play App Store in the handout. So you can have you've got the TV app web page, you've got the Screen Mirroring Sender web page, and the link in the Google Play App Store, all here in the handout for you. The next product is really neat. This is called Descreen. It was written by a gentleman who is in Ukraine. And this is where I found out about that little dongle that I showed you. They have a donation part, but their software runs on Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, which covers the 3 main desktop operating systems. And then under others, I don't know what they have. These are, I don't know what these are, but we can skip them. Their big thing is that it makes a second screen. You can share your screen, share an application, just like you would do in Linux, in Zoom. It's Wi-Fi compatible. You can connect to multiple devices, and it is encrypted and fast. And here is a tablet being used as a second screen, and the phone being used as a separate screen, and then the laptop screen. So there's 3 monitors right here. And the operating system, again, is Windows, Linux, and Mac. And it only requires 256 megabytes of RAM. And these are the dongles. So if you have an HDMI port, or a display port, or a mini display port, these are the dongles that you would get. And they have a link on their webpage to shop for virtual display adapters on Amazon. And that's where I found the adapter that I bought. And then they have demonstrations down here and how to use it. On your computer, I installed a program called Descreen. And when you go into it, this is what the program looks like. And if your second screen is going to be an iPad, for example, you would just use the iPad's camera to scan this QR code, and it will come up with a link, and you'll tap on it, and it'll mirror your screen. That's all there is to it. If you're on a TV or some other device that you can't scan the QR code, they give you this hyperlink that you type into the browser. And this hyperlink is basically the IP address of whatever your computer is that you're on. And then this extra portion on the end, which will change for each person. So that is Descreen. And this is where I found the dongle. This thing guy right here. And this dongle works with all of the other apps. So if you have AirPlay or the Google Chrome browser, or that other one here, it'll work with second display. I can't show it to you right now because I'm using my TV as a second display already. And I'm using it with my favorite program for Windows, which is the last one that I'm going to show you, is called Space Desk. And the webpage is spacedesk.net. It only supports Windows as the host. So if you have a Windows computer, your client that you would share your screen with or extend your display with can be Windows, Android, iOS, a Fire Stick, or any HTML5 web browser. So a TV, Mac OS, Linux. And so if I go back here, you would download from their website their driver for Windows from right here, desktop extension display monitor. And can all of you see my second screen that
Yes.
has the Space Desk?
Yes, it's there.
Okay, so this is what the app looks like. And you would either turn it on or turn it off. And when you turn it on, it simulates a second monitor for you. So you don't need to put your own second monitor in. And then you don't need that dongle, I should say. You don't need the dongle. They have viewer available for Android, iOS, Amazon Fire Stick, Windows, and the browser. So if you have a Windows computer, a laptop, and you also own an iPad, this is the program I would recommend that you use. That way you don't need to buy the dongle. And the Windows app and these other apps are very stable. I use them every month for this meeting. I use them for all my Zoom meetings. And it's very, very stable. So now I'm basically going to open up the floor for any questions that people have.
I've got one. It said for that last one that it was an extension of your screen. Is it also a extra screen?
Yes. Yes, you can have your email program Outlook running on your iPad and your web browser running on your laptop screen.
Okay.
So yes, it becomes a second monitor. And I'll stop the share and see if anybody has any questions. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody does.
One quick question on what if you have a laptop and you're in the clubhouse and you have a projector, no Wi-Fi, and you don't have a HDMI cable going to it? Will you be able to use it, that dangle, and stick it in the back of the projector and then use your PC, your laptop to go to it?
It requires Wi-Fi network.
Oh, okay.
If you don't have a Wi-Fi network, you'll have to use a cable.
Yeah. Well, I could put Wi-Fi on there by sticking in a dongle for the Wi-Fi and probably go through that way. But I'd have to use a dangle. Would have to be an HDMI, so I don't have two HDMI ports on the projector, so I'd only have one.
Well, the dongle would go into your laptop.
Yeah. Well, if it's going to project to the other one, how do you? Oh, well, you're just getting a code because you're going through Wi-Fi.
If all you're going to do is mirror the display, if you want to put your laptop display up on the screen, you should be able to take an HDMI cable from the back of the projector and plug it into your laptop.
Yeah, no, I can do that, but I don't want to have to, because they don't have a cable going. I don't want the cable being in the way of the projector of the screen.
Yeah.
So, and our
Without
cable doesn't go out
Wi-Fi.
there. So, yeah, I
Without
got to use
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Right. So without Wi-Fi, you can't use any of these products.
Okay.
They're all based on wireless, and they all use your IP address of your Wi-Fi network.
Yeah.
However, there are devices, you can get them from Amazon, which are HDMI wireless extenders, either on Bluetooth or using some other, whatever the RF network is, it's there. A little box that connects to HDMI goes onto the display or the projector that's sitting up at the top, on a shelf, wherever it is. And then the other end goes into your computer, which hopefully has an HDMI output. And now your connection is wireless between the computer and the projector, and it's just a dumb projector and a wireless connection. It's not inexpensive, but it's doable, and you don't have to carry a 40-foot HDMI cable with you.
Detlef has his hand up.
Yeah, quick question for Drew. You put in that link where the presentation is as a PDF file.
Yes.
And I tried to get that because I need to do this at my own pace. And I got a message that says it's been rejected, but you will get an email saying a link. I did that when you put up the link, but I still haven't gotten an email.
Oh.
Drew, you just have to change the sharing permissions. Just go back to the document, go to sharing again, and make it available to anyone with the link.
Oh, okay. I'll do that as soon as everybody has asked their last question. Huey, you have your hand up.
Yeah. When you're projecting it, let's say to your phone or to an iPad, if I do a screen capture, is it going to give me what's on that screen then?
That's an interesting question. I'm thinking that if you want to get a screen capture of the second screen, if you have it mirrored, then your laptop screen and the iPad screen are the same screen, so a screen capture will work. If you're if you're using the Space Desk software, for example, and you turn the iPad into a second monitor, and it does not have the same contents as the monitor that your laptop, and I imagine that you'd probably have to use a screen capture program and physically select that second monitor.
Well,
Like
generally, like a phone or my iPad, it's just a couple of keys that I click and it grabs whatever's on the screen.
Well, let's say you have two monitors on your computer. How would you take a screenshot of both screens, of either screen?
Oh, no. Well, I would use Snagit, but and the fact that if I'm using an iPad or a phone, just like I do a screen capture using the phone, can I just do that same thing to get
yes.
If your
iPad can take a screen capture and it's a second display, then yes, it'll capture that your second display.
Okay, Mike, before you ask your question, I got a pop-up from Stephanie that wants to present, and I'm not sure what she would want to do that. So if she would let us know what she's trying to do, or did she hit something by mistake?
I was just asking for a copy of the handout. I came in late, so I didn't pick it up. I have a very blank screen here to make a copy of.
I'll post the link again, Stephanie. If you
Thank you.
came in late, you wouldn't see it.
copy
then
it.
Drew just has to change the permissions. So
Yeah.
here's the, whoops, no, the wrong one. I'll get it on there. Soon as that, well, I'll make my comment and then I'll go do it. It looks like it's okay. The comment I wanted to make goes back to using Chrome and Chromecast. It's only been recent, at least in my experience, that running Chromium, Chrome, or Brave, any of the Chrome-based browsers, would cast more than just the tab or the web page that I was looking at. And that was my biggest concern when we first started talking about it. And and what I found out was, and Drew walked me through it, that if I'm using my browser, my Chrome, let's say Chromium under Linux, but Chrome under Windows if you wish, and I do say cast, and I say screen and not tab, then I can actually minimize the browser and open up a program, and whatever I open, it's up there on my TV. So without a dongle and without extra software and without an application on my TV, now my TV happens to be a Google operating system TV, so it automatically takes it. So, under those conditions, I was able to basically have anything that was on my computer up on my TV set.
Right. But you had the same information on your laptop as you had on the TV.
I just wanted to have, well, it used to be that there were a number of reasons that I wanted, like I was at a birthday party for my wife and we had put together a video, and the video was just a MP4 file that was on the computer. So had I wanted to, we did something else, but had I wanted to, all I had to do was just cast from my browser, tell it to share my screen, and then open up the video, and it would be up, on the large TV in the
presuming that the large TV and your laptop were on the same Wi-Fi network.
Yeah. Yep. They were hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I've done that too. But I can also you can take, like you say, stick your HDMI cable in your PC, and then stick another one into your HDMI, your TV, and do it that way also.
Yeah, you can do a cable. I just don't want to have to. I don't have an HDMI port on my laptop, and I don't want to run a cable over the floor if I can just do the same thing wirelessly.
Yeah.
So let me log into my Gmail and
just on Google Drive, just open the document, go to sharing, and you'll see under sharing you have different options. And what you want to say is anybody with the link. You don't have to post a new, it won't change the link, it's the same link.
Right. And I put it, I believe, into this account, screencasting.pdf, and more actions, share it, and general access from restricted anyone with the link.
Anyone with the link.
All right, I just changed it. So can somebody try and click on it?
I'll do it now.
Okay.
I've got it.
It's there.
Yep.
Mike, you'll repost it so Stephanie can get it?
It's reposted, and again, so everybody save your chat as was mentioned previously, and when we send our video link out on our Google groups, it will have the chat. And if you're not on our Google groups, go to cfcs.org and send an email to the link that's down near the bottom and say, add me to the Google, to the CFCS Google Groups.
Yeah, I clicked it and I clicked on the download button and it's now in my download folder. So I got it on my computer.
Okay. And all of the hyperlinks should be working hyperlinks.
Okay, any last minute comments? We thank you very much, Drew. Very informative as usual. And we will see
Okay.
you next month. And all the things that Huey said were coming up. Monday,
Right.
anyway, tomorrow. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Before we go, the deal is not finalized yet, but Samsung is in negotiation with Perplexity to replace the Google Gemini assistant on their phones, starting with the S26. So when you buy your next model phone in 2026, it may have Perplexity built in.
And Google's doing that on their Pixel phones. They're putting all the latest and greatest stuff. Okay, guys, we'll see you later.